Cleopatra cocked her leg, and the whole Roman Empire jumped in. I never thought I heard a greater line in my life. 1, 2, 3, 4. Voice rang through the barroom like an actor on a stage. He held us all captive with the crazy things he'd say. Told tales of Cleopatra and the Roman Empire. We would buy drinks to fuel the fire, with a cigarette dangling and whiskey on his breath. He'd be talking about some guinea joint where everything was red. Racetrack Mike was easy to like, but hard to get to know. He'd say, bums like me, gone with the breeze, just a one-car funeral. Mike followed the ponies from Jersey to FLA. And he could spot a sucker. There's one born every day. There's days he'd make a killing, but they were few and far. But Mike never had to spend a nickel when we was at the bar. He'd talk about New Orleans and say the place where jazz was born. Just drinking in a speakeasy, then in walks Lena Horne. Racetrack Mike was easy to like, but ain't nobody ever got close. He'd say, bums like me were gone with the breeze, just a one-car funeral. Everyone gives a thumbs up when he walks through the door. They don't make guys like him anymore. They talk about Sinatra and some money that he owed to a wise guy named Skinny. Then he'd say, how about one for the road? Now all that's left is legend. Racetrack bums still tell about this Tom Mick from Beantown, conned his way out of hell. His voice rang through the heavens, and like an actor on a stage, he had the angels captive on his judgment day. Racetrack Mike was so easy to like, he just walked through heaven's door. Didn't seem to mind he left no friends behind at a one-car funeral. One-car funeral. Light on our feet. Oh my heavens. Racetrack Mike, one-car funeral. That's a girdle snapper. Oh yeah. Hey, we want to thank you guys for tuning in with us. And let me say this. If you enjoy what we do, tell somebody that you like. Tell your cousin. And if you don't like what we do, tell somebody you hate. Really stick it to somebody. If you think that what we do is repulsive and has no value whatsoever, find someone that you think is disgusting and tell them about us. And then sick them on me. And I'll torture them and I'll make them feel bad for you. Tell me when.
You're on.
How you doing? Hey, sorry, we had the vamoose for a moment, but Tom told me about the gaguch and the gazinha and the skondani and all these things and all the corpusciples. They all got corn fused, rubbed up again one another, had a bastard child, and all that matters is we're back in your loving arms. And so I'll say to you, the one line that is said every time an Italian man makes love. It always starts off with one sentence. Every time an Italian makes love, here's the last words you hear before you hear a lot of grunting and groaning. You know what those lines are? Get over here! Hey, this song, I don't think I ever played it until we started doing our shows here. And it's a song called Clown. And it's about the story of my sorry ass life. And it goes like this here. How's it go? Okay. Yeah, that's it. Look in the mirror, what do I see? Face of a clown looking at me. Ain't good for much more than a laugh. Jokes that have cracked, you don't know the half. And you can tell the ringmaster that I'm in town. And I'm looking for a circus, looking for a clown. My kind of work, it's hard to find. Barnum and Bailey come to mind. If they're looking for a man that's funny, I'll be under the big top making my money. And that's the way I see it going down. And I'm looking for a circus, looking for a clown. There's folks who tell you I'm the best in the biz. Road dog like me, been everywhere that there is. Jersey Shore, nothing but smile in the roadhouse. They roll in the aisles while you can talk to my agent and he'll set you straight. Tell you I was climbing right out of the gate. Aim to please, I got a need to amuse. Just you hear, take away your blues and you can bet your sweet ass I've been around, and I'm looking for a circus. Looking for a circus. Looking for a circus. Looking for a clown. Looking for a circus. Soikus looking for a clown. I said Tom. Hey, I like that little hunk.
Good one.
Hey,
Good
Gotten. You like that, H?
Yeah, I like that.
You know, we've never done that on stage. But I have a feeling when we go back to work. And let me say this. Speaking of going back to work. May 30th. May 30th.
Yeah.
2021. At the Sirius Shrine in Harmerville, Cheswick, we're going back to work. What we're going to do is we're going to strap it on and we're going to strut. Did you ever see a bunch of old, dried up bags of men strutting? It's not pretty.
No.
It's not pretty, but you know what? You know, it's going to be a lot of soul. It's going to be soulful. And there's going to be the people that drink in what it is that we do. These are the salt of America. These people, and we don't do it for us anymore. We do it for them. May 30th, the Shrine. It's going to be, you know what? A wang, effing dang, effing doodle, like Willie Dixon said so many years ago. Tell Automatic Slim, Pistol Packin' Annie. Hey guys, I threatened earlier to bring out a special guest. Now, let me say this. Our guest is he's been sitting here through the whole thing, and he's not talking a lot right now. He's barely saying a word. You know, he's just been out of prison not very long. He's staying out to Hideaway with Harry. Harry's trying to what is the word they use?
Rehabilitate.
Rehabilitation and to bring him back into society slowly.
He picked a good place to do it, didn't he?
He did pick a good place because over at the Hideaway, the only people that go over there are special people. But anyway, the crazy thing about our guest is that he's been around a long time. Did you ever hear the song by Billy Joe Shaver that says, "I'm gonna live forever. I'm gonna cross that river. I'm gonna catch tomorrow now." Now that song, I don't know if it was written for our guest, but it could have been. But I have a list of songs that were written for our guest. People were started writing songs about our guest in the 40s, in the 40s. In fact, the man that, in my opinion, invented rock and roll music. Rock and roll music started in the 1940s, and the man who birthed it, it was birthed, you know, it was one of the only times a man ever gave birth. You know, and it was a miracle. But this man gave birth, and this man was an Italian man.
Go figure.
Go figure, right? Are you shocked? I ain't.
I'm not shocked.
I'm talking about Louis effing Prima.
Amen, amen.
He put together a piece of material in the 1940s called Just a Gigolo about our guest. I know, and it sounds crazy. In the 1960s, Ricky Nelson didn't write it, but he sang it, Traveling Man, about our guest. At the end of the 50s, Dion DiMucci, speaking of good-looking Italians, The Wanderer. Hey, I'm the kind of guy that likes to roam around. I pull up my zipper and then I pull it down. Dion DiMucci. And I just come up with that. And I'd like credit where credit is due. The Wanderer. About our guest. Kind of miraculous, right? Now, Willie effing Dixon, the greatest blues writer. You know, as a student of songwriters, rarely do you talk about writers that are in the blues music. But when you talk of great writers and you don't mention Willie Dixon, you're bullshitting. You're a bullshitter. Because Willie Dixon wrote this song about our guest, Hoochie Coochie Man. And what man doesn't, in the privacy of his own bathroom, especially when he's about 12 or 14, doesn't think of himself as a hoochie coochie man? Every little boy in the world, gypsy woman told my mother. Come on, man, you kidding me? Get that. I don't know if you know this. In the 1960s, one of the first records, not one of the first records, but a record that snapped my girdle early on. First time I heard it, I knew. You know what I did the first time I heard this song? I bought the record. And then as soon as I bought the record, I took the song and I pulled its pants down. And I looked to see what it had in its shorts. And you know what it had? A couple of big rocks. It's a song called I'm a Man. Spencer Davis Band, sung by Stevie Winwood, who had the voice of the devil inside him as a pretty young English boy. Really great. Written about our guest. And I know this sounds crazy, but Macho Man by the Village People. Okay, you're all laughing. I hear you laughing. All you sons of bitches, you're laughing at what I'm saying. But, you know, yes, the same song, Hoochie Coochie Man and Macho Man were written about our guest. I remember one time my dad went to the ball game, and he had my nephew John with him. And you know how at the Pirate game, the two of them were there at the Pirate game together. And at the Pirate game, they started playing Macho Man. And my nephew at the time was probably about 7 or 8 years old. And when they played Macho Man, a group of guys that were sitting there, them all got up and started dancing and waving the flags around. And my nephew looked at my dad and says, Hey, Pap, who are those guys? And my dad just went like this here. Macho Man. How about this? Marvin Gaye. Trouble Man. Written about our guest. That song is so deep and so heavy. Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash wrote Folsom Prison Blues. Who do you think he wrote the line, I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die? Who did he write it about? Our guest. ZZ Top. ZZ Top. Who do you think they wrote Sharp Dressed Man about? Our guest. And ladies and gentlemen, let me say this. In Memphis, Tennessee in the 1960s was a hotbed of real music people. Writers, singers, players, producers. They were operating out of there, and they were like at the highest level of the world. It was street level, but it was street level at the highest level in the world, Memphis, Tennessee. James and Bobby Purify sang a song that was written by Dan Penn and Spooner Oldham. They wrote a song. Big hit. We played it in a band. A lot of the East Side bands all played it. The other sides of town, they weren't playing that. You know, they didn't understand the soul music like we did, because we was on the East Side. We was East Sider. We was touching the soul music deeper than a lot of the other parts of town. They were, you know, they were strawberry alarm clocking and all that bullshit. I always wanted to just slap the shit out of them. You know what I mean? Tell them to grow a couple little hair on their rocks. But ladies and gentlemen, this song was written about our guest, and I'd like to introduce him right now. The song, I'm Your Puppet, was written about our special guest, and I'd like to introduce everyone right now to Danny Do Right Dolan. Danny, so glad to have you with us today. Go ahead, guys. Put your hooves together for Danny. Ain't he something? You know, when you wear an ascot like that, you better be able to handle yourself in the bedroom, if you know what I'm saying. You better bring a couple tricks to the dance. Danny. Sharp dressed man. Trouble man. I'm your puppet. I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. I'm a man, yes I am, and I can't help but love you so. I heard Herman Granati sing the living shit out of that little greaseball. I'm starting to slobber. I gotta say, hey, we don't have many guests here, but when we get someone like Danny, a dignitary with us. Now, Danny isn't speaking much in public. Harry is working with him. Hey, could you ask Danny what he's been doing since he's gotten out of prison? Out of the penitentiary, really.
Hey, what have you been doing since you got out of the big house there, Dan?
What's he say?
He says he just wants to do right.
He's just like me and you. He just wants to do right. Danny Do Right Dolan, bastard stepchild of dear Dolly Dolan, second cousin once removed, and once they removed him, he never came back, of Jimmy Wildroot Dolan, the guitar spanking legend, who said, you know, doing time in Texas
It's better than doing time in Arkansas.
is better than doing time in Arkansas. And guess what? He might know. Well, I just slobbered on my nose. It's not come out of my nose when I get excited. But guys, Danny Do Right Dolan, what do you think's in that pipe? Let me just say this. It ain't smoking tobacco.
You can check his eyes.
Oh, what's he drinking? What's Danny drinking? I'll tell you what he's drinking. Old frothing slosh. Try saying it. Say it 3 times. Old frothing slosh, old frothing slosh, old frothing slosh.
You need a bub.
I do need a... You know, when I was a little boy, every Friday, we were living in Chester. My old man would, if he could make it home, he would come home and he would go up to the beer distributor and he'd buy 2 cases of beer. But in Christmas season, he'd buy 2 cases of beer. One of his standard Iron City beer, as we see here. And he would also buy, in Christmas season, he'd buy a case of old frothing slosh. Because that's what you did as a Pittsburgher. Now, Danny, it's not even the Christmas season, and yet Danny, his Pittsburgh roots, took him.
He knows a guy.
He knows a guy. I think it might be the guy that's filling his pipe. That same guy.
Same guy.
Got him a couple of cases of frothing slosh, and Harry told me, Danny, Harry says to me, Danny pulled a little pistol out of his high level jacket, and he said, any of you sons of bitches touch this slosh, you're going down. He says, I've done a lot of time in prison, and I got no problem going back again. So that old frothing slosh, Harry didn't put a lip on it because Danny let him know. No bullshit. And let me ask you this. What other live stream internet orgy do you know that brings on a guest like Danny Do-Right Dolan? Anywhere I go, I haven't seen it. So I'm looking for a little, what I like to, I use the word respect. So if anybody out there has any extra respect to dish out, throw it our way because we're bringing you Danny Do-Right. Hey, slap on a bass. Let's play something for these sons of bitches.
Oh, sure thing.
Oh yeah, this one's in the key of G.
Oh, that's good to know. I'd have found it eventually.
And we haven't, we've done it once or twice on the show. But we used to do it all the time at our Starlight 4-year run at the Starlight Lounge. I guess I probably wrote it a couple years ago. And I wrote it about, you know, Danny Do-Right Dolan isn't the only legend we've hung out with. You know, I worked with Warren King for 4 or 5 years. And I just wanted to let you know, I have just been listening to the new LP that might be released next month. Live at the Red Eye by the Diamonds, the band I was in the 70s. And my buddies down in Nash have been working on, you know, putting it in order and mastering it. And my buddies from Nash called me the other day. In fact, my dear friend Bryce Foster, who I've trained from a precious baby. And I trained him to be an antagonist. I trained him to be a mean son of a bitch music snob. I trained him not to put up with any shit from these sons of bitch engineers that, you know, they call themselves an engineer because they can run the computer. I didn't say what I just said. That don't mean they're producers and engineers. You know, music people, it's in their loins. It's not in their, you know, some technical book because you can remember things and bullshit like this. It's the music people. Tom Dodd, music person, an engineer that the sensitivity of his ears and his sensitivity to the songs and the rhythm sections, and because at one time a rhythm section was a thing. The rhythm section. What's a rhythm section now?
Drum machine.
A computer operator puts a goddamn track down, and that's you know that's you know, and what, who plays with it? Another guy puts down a bass part, and that's the rhythm section. What about the blood and sweat and the smell? What about the perspiration? Can you smell them when they're playing? You know what? When I'm playing a gig, you know how I know it's a real gig? When I can smell myself. That's how I know I'm working. And I go, oh, yeah! That's not a negative, that's a positive. Because I'm working so hard that my body, my mind, my everything. I'll use a word that I've heard chefs use, Tom. It's congealing. To congeal. To become one. And when I can smell myself, I know I have congealed. And now, you know what I want to do now? Now I want to carry that smell and that congealation through the rest of the show. And then, you know what? I'll tell you one thing, and I'll guarantee you one thing. I ain't sleeping that night. I ain't going to sleep at all, because I'm going to be up palpitating. I'm going to be up like it's here, festering and fibrillating on the energy that my body created in that performance. And that's rock and roll. But when you got a computer here and a computer there and these things, you can't smell it. It doesn't have a smell. There's no odor. Therefore, there's no music, as far as I'm concerned. We're going to send a song out to the memory of the late, great Warren King. A stone badass. I was playing on a show with him in Texas. Opening for Rush went on first. We went on second. Ted Nugent was following us. And as we're doing our show, the music gets quiet. Warren steps out to the end of the stage, starts banging on his Les Paul real soft because we're going to build the intensity. And you're going to smell it. And as before we could even get into it, a little kid yells out, Ted Nugent, who I'd like to slap anyway. And Warren King did exactly what you're supposed to do. He gave him one of these. Same scenario, getting ready to do it again. As soon as he's getting ready to bite into it, little kid, Ted Nugent. Warren gives him one of these. The third time it happens, Ted Nugent. Warren picks up his Les Paul, undoes his belt buckle, pulls down his zipper, shakes his hip, and his pants drop to the floor. And it gives about 2,000 Texans a foot and a half. How you like me now? You know what that is? That's rock and roll. That's what a man does. That's what a man says. You know what? I've taken your shit. I've given you the chance to understand and respect what's going to happen here. And you shit on me. And now I'm dropping one on you. About a foot and a half to make the people laugh. Can I get a hallelujah? I feel you. 1, 2, 3, 4. The young buck asked about him, said, did he stand that tall? Did he drop his pants in Texas as he raised up his Les Paul? Tell me the story. How he blazed the trail. Yeah, the man they called a kingfish sure knew how to well. Kingfish down in Memphis, drunk up all his dough, got Elvis's phone number from a couple hoes. All them strippers tell you he gets the wind in his sail. Yeah, the man they call the kingfish shake the feathers of his tail. Folks still talk about that night on Woodstock Ave. Threw his Les Paul out the window, landed on a Cadillac. Played a killer show that night, I still remember that. Yeah, the man they called the kingfish took it all out on his stride. Check this shit out here. Kingfish in New York City, on the road to ruin. Down in the village doing shit you shouldn't be doing. Well, they strap on a 6-string like it didn't have a care. Check this out. He took a bite of the Big Apple, middle finger in the air. Hail to the kingfish, hail to the man, pissed into the wind just because you can. Hail to the kingfish and his rebel soul, dancing to the devil, playing rock and roll. Some say play like Billy Gibbons' band and bring the mind to Wayne. How about Johnny Winter, hide up on whiskey and cocaine? Y'all talking about the legends of the Bandit String. Yeah, the man they call the kingfish make that guitar sing. Now there's been some guitar slingers, they all paid their dues, but ain't a one on them better play them rock and blues. And that's a fact of the matter, that ain't no fairy tale. Yeah, the man they called the kingfish sure knew how to well. Yeah, the man they called a kingfish sure knew how to well. Hail to the kingfish. Are you gone? To the fish. And those who knew the fish, if you knew the fish, you love the fish. And because they didn't make none other ones like him. I'm telling you, I've been listening to this Diamond shit. My buddy's down in Nash. My buddy's Bryce Foster, who's heard and done some shit himself. It ain't like he ain't blowed a few sons of bitches off stages his own damn self. Because I trained that boy with his band, the Brett Kane Band, back in the 1990s. Anybody that they played with
Got beat.
got their ass beat.
Right.
But you know why? Because I trained them. Because they had the juice and they were willing to take the training. And let me say about the training, you can't stop a train. And if you take the training, you'll never be too light to fight. You'll never be too frail to wail. And you'll never be too thin to win. Get over here, you fucking monkey. Can I have a round of applause for Harry on bass and Tom slapping us some keys on some Kingfish, baby, so that we could stick it right in your gazooch. Because I'll give you... Man, what do you think I'd be doing right now if we weren't here? You think I could smell myself like I do right now? I smell me. Kingfish let me know it's a gig. God damn it, I'm alive. I am because I am. Danny, did you enjoy that? You know what Danny said? He said, I think y'all do, right? Glad to hear. Thanks, Dan. Maybe you'll get comfortable enough where you could talk with us through the course of our performances here today.
You forgot a song about Danny. Do right man. Do right woman. Do right man.
You know, Tom, you're exactly right. You know, in fact...
Also by Dan Penn and Spooners.
Right. You know, we used to play that sometimes. I did it with Whitey Cooper, who I hope is watching today. You know, I hope he's watching because, you know what? Sometimes that son of a bitch forgets how much I've done for him. He forgets how sorry ass his life would be had I not picked him up from pure obscurity when he was just a 19-year-old nothing. He had shit. And I trained him to be my drummer. He was playing with Nathan Bullball's gig. You know why we call them bullballs? Did you ever go out in the barn and see the animals? Well, think about it. Gee, he was like a buffalo. All heart, one of the... But Whitey Cooper, if you're watching, hope you learned something today. I know he worked for me for years. Then he says, I'm leaving, I'm quitting, I'm starting my own band. Whitey Cooper and the Blind Venetians. And you know what? It was a pretty good band. It really was. But you know, he was out front. He wasn't playing drums anymore. He was just out front. And let me tell you something. That son of a bitch learned a whole lot. You know where he learned it? From me! Did he ever thank me? Did he write me a goddamn letter? A thank you? Thank you, Norman, for teaching me what it is to throw it and show it. And if you want to do right all day, woman, you gotta be a do-right. Tom, you know that song is just a girdle snapper. You know, and I've been writing a song about my old lady for. I've been writing it for 5 years, and I've written it 4, 5, 6, 7 times, and I've never completed it. And you know what the name of it is? She Made Me Want to Do Right. Danny just smiled. I could feel him.
He's just smiling.
He you know, he took an extra hit. I've been writing a song for my old lady. She Made Me Want to Do Right. Because, you know, I wasn't born right. You know, there's those folks that have said that, you know, Norman was shot on the wall and hatched by the sun. Is that true? I don't think so. Because I read the article in the paper when I was born. And it said this was the first child ever born come out smoking a cigarette with a bullhorn in his throat. You know what that was? Goddamn miracle. I'm a living miracle. And like Tom said, and he didn't know that when he said, you know, no matter what instrument we use, no matter what we do, you know, nothing ever seems to be louder than your voice. I don't think he meant that as a compliment, honestly. But, you know, I took it as a wonderful, wonderful compliment on the one skill that I never brag about. I never thought I was a good singer. I never thought I played all that good.
You don't need no microphone.
But you know what? When it comes to talking shit and being heard, who's going to kick my ass? Bring them on. Bring on 2 or 3 at a time. Because I'll slap the living shit out of some sons of bitches. Let's do young. So I can brag about how cool I was when I was a kid. But I really wasn't cool. I just thought I was. But if you're young and you're not living and you're not getting all there is, you know, if you have any questions and you don't seek the answer, you're not taking advantage of being young. So if there's any young people that are wasting their time watching this, maybe you learn something from an old bag of meat. If there's something you want to do, get it done. Get it done. Don't let anything stop you. And don't let anyone tell you any different than what I'm telling you. Make your own effing mistakes. Making mistakes isn't bad. Not making mistakes is bad. Do you feel this? I am telling you something so important. They don't teach it at school. Making mistakes is not bad. Getting in trouble is not bad. It's how you become somebody. It's how you become. If you don't make any mistakes, if you don't try shit, and if you don't fail, if you never failed, you can never succeed. You sons of God damn you. Tom said it.
Yeah.
Do right, woman. And if you want to do right. Oh, I love that song. Whitey sang the living crap out of it. I hope he's not watching because I don't like him. I don't like him hearing me say nice things about him. Because then he gets a bloated self-importance. You know, his nose. He throws his nose in the air like he just don't care. I want to slap his. Wrote this not too long ago, and as soon as I wrote it, I knew something about it was a snapper. And then Harry and I played it at the Cigar Bar in the strip known as
Leaf and Bean.
Leaf and Bean. How about our friend? We have another friend named Whitey that we met down there who's just the most coolest dude in the world. Island Jim, who owns the joint.
Yeah, we love Island Jim.
You know, when we first started playing there, I'd see Island Jim standing in the back of the room watching me work. And I'd be going, oh, Jesus Christ. Because they told me this is the guy that owns the joint. He didn't talk to me. And I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. I don't think this guy likes me. Because he had a lot of, all the nice people, you know, songwriters and guys that are normal people. We're all playing there and doing good jobs for him. And then I come in and start pulling my shit. And he's standing in the back of the room watching me like this. You're not saying a goddamn word. And the next time I come in, he comes up to me and he pulls out his phone. He says, look at this shit. And it says, and he points to it and he goes, you see this? And it was, somebody had typed in something on his website and it said, really enjoyed the band, but who wants to hear a 70-year-old man talking 4 little words? And he showed me that, and I just looked at it. I says, I said, I guess that didn't work out real good. And he goes, what are you talking about? He says, that's what we want. He said, I just put a sign out front that said, X-rated show, don't come in. And he was like, he was bragging on me for being the loser that I am. And I was like, I never suspected that this guy had any respect for what I was doing. He thought I was a jerk off. I was surprised they let us come back after the way I just felt. But he was bragging about the fact that I was not a normal person and that I didn't give a shit. And he was going, hey, if they don't want to come in, don't let them come in. But you know what? There's a whole lot that are going to want to come in.
That's right.
And I just thought, you know, Alan Jim, I like the way you talk. Yeah. I'll give you 2 weeks to stop talking to me like that shit. I was really good at being young. about guys like me, songs are sung. See what you think of it. But one of the first times we did it was at the Leaf and Bean, and I could just tell, you see the people sitting, and I could just see their mouths and they're licking their lips. I'm watching this little Dago verbalize his thoughts and his Jesus H. Christ, what the hell was that? I could have let that.
You sound like Foster Brooks there for a minute.
You remember him?
I sure do.
Remember Foster? He was, oh, he's drunk. That's on Bluetooth.
It's Dean Martin's pilot, wasn't he?
He's talking smart. Dean Martin and Foster Brooks, a couple of guys that weren't afraid to have a. Let's play young. Key of 80s. See what you think of it, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. Headed for the city by the Golden Gate when we stuck our thumbs back in '68. Got arrested in Ohio on the interstate. Never made the scene in Ashbury and Hayes. Wound up in Beantown trying to get an education to modulate the status of my situation. Didn't graduate. Youthful frustration put me on the road in search of sanctification. I was really good at being young. About guys like me, songs are sung. I can't believe the circles that I'm running, the pitches that I swung at, the bells can't be unrung. I was really good at being young. Joined up with the band out in Cincinnati. Had a bowl of chili with the pimp daddy. Learning that ounce of rolling up a fatty from a girl in West Virginia on the backseat of a caddy. Got a gig in Jersey, so I took that turnpike ride. Met a couple Johns, one called himself Southside. Tore up the fast lane, that can't be denied. Got some sand between my toes, walking Oceanside. I was really good at being young. About guys like me, songs are sung. I can't believe the circles that I'm running, the pitches that I swung at, the bells can't be unrung. I was really good at being young. You couldn't tell me nothing I wasn't gonna learn for myself. Banged around Manhattan trying to find a record deal. Got high up on some mushrooms with a cabbie at the wheel. Smoked the joint from Levy's office that had to be concealed, 'cause I'd have took a beating and then I'd been revealed. Everywhere I went, my eyes was open wide. For every laugh I had, there was a tear I cried. Lost more than I won, but I never lost my pride. Now I wouldn't trade a minute on that crazy ride. I was really good at being young. About guys like me, songs are sung. I can't believe the circles that I'm running, the pitches that I swung at, the bells can't be unrung. I was really good, broke every rule I could. I was really good at being young. Hey, of that song, we say, smoked a joint in Mo Levy's office.
Right
Mo
there.
Levy,
That's him.
that's Mo Levy right there. My friend John gave me the shirt. I don't know why I did it, because he's a weirdo. And you know what it confirmed to me? It confirmed that he would listen to my bullshit when I'd be talking on stage. But Mo Levy was the legendary music business gangster that I think they made that movie Cadillac Records, and he was the guy that wouldn't pay his artists. He wasn't the only guy, believe me, because the music business was set up that way in the 1950s. It wasn't set up. The music business was set up for music business. And so music makers weren't part of the business. They just
Got the business.
got the business because there was no one representing them and no one representing their interest. And the business, this is crazy shit, but our world is changing so fast. It wasn't that long ago, Tom, that the music business was birthed. Do you know what I mean? There was no, and when music business started, what they would do is they didn't have records. They would print music, put it on a piece of paper, and they'd sell it at the stores throughout the country so that you would play that sheet music. And that's how you would play the songs. And the crazy thing is, one of the first guys that had the rocks in his pants, he would get the music, but he wouldn't play it the way it was written, like everybody else did. Louis Armstrong. He would get the music and say, okay, that's the way they hear it, but here's how I feel it. And that was so, can I use the word? I'll use this. I'll go like this here. What is this here? That's an A for American. It was so American of him to not play it the way it was written. He played it the way he felt it, which birthed,
Yes.
which put the power in the hands of the music guy. Oh, whammy! That's one. He turned the business by being somebody. And I taught a lot of people, young guys, they want to talk about, how to do this shit. And I was thinking, yeah, study and grow and learn. But the most important thing, the best thing that can happen through you and your music is for you to become somebody. And that's above and beyond taking lessons and practicing and doing stinking filthy gigs and getting in the truck and going places. The best thing that can happen is through the music and the life that it supplies, you as a man or woman become somebody. Very heavy shit. I don't like to be accused of saying heavy shit. H, you know that. Tom, you know that. Rochelle, you don't know that about me yet, but you're figuring it out. I don't like saying heavy shit because I don't want the responsibility. But I just said heavy shit. Playing music, you're playing your own music, gives you a chance to become somebody. Johnny Cash became Johnny Cash. Stevie Ray Vaughan became Stevie Ray Vaughan. Van Morrison became Van Morrison. You see what I'm saying? How hip is it to become somebody? Tom?
Della Dodson says about Morris Levy, asked Tommy James.
No question.
Yeah.
And you know who the Shondells, the original Shondells are from Scottsdale, PA, the Scottsdale area. And I got to hang out with those guys. Mike Vale.
Yeah, Mikey.
Who was, I guess, the leader of those guys. And still has a Shondells, I guess they call it the Crystal Blue Band.
Yeah.
Really cool band. And Mike Vale, really cool guy. Eddie Gray, the guitar player. I met Eddie back at Fox Studio in the 70s.
Yeah, we dumped out again.
Those guys were all victims of this guy, Mo Levy. He was a legendary, and what happened was I had a record, the Eaten Alive album was on Buddha Records, which Morris Levy owned. And when we were up there promoting it,
Oh, wow.
I got Ray Gun, and we snuck in Morris Levy's office and smoked an effing joint. Morris was in town. He had to leave New York and move to Florida.
The keyword was had to.
Not wanted to, had to.
That's right.
Great, right?
Rock and roll.
But we smoked a joint in his office, and then I found out later that it was his office and all this great stuff. But that's why this Morris Levy lives in my heart, because if he'd have caught me smoking a joint in his office, he'd have hung
Under
me.
the balcony, wouldn't you be down?
He'd have hung me out his window. He'd had a couple bruisers hang me out a window by my feet, like he did to some artists. How fantastic!
Got it.
You do?
Yeah, somehow. It's back on.
Does Della know? Does Della Dodson know Mike Vail and those guys?
I don't know who.
The original Shondells. I've been seeing her lately on Facebook. Pretty cool, right?
I think we've reached a point where we're. Fuck. It stopped again.
You think that's
Yeah, I think we're.
done? Will we
It's,
cancel
not-
that?
it's still live. I've got it here still. Somehow.
I'm here. Tom says he doesn't know what we're having a little tough day with our technical
Oh,
stuff.
no.
And we've really,
Yeah.
of all this 27,
No, that was up to the end.
this is the first time we've
Oh, no.
had this much difficulty. Tom says,
Yeah. I
It's better that
think it could be a simple fix. I should have maybe reset your
The
modem router. You know, a lot of times unplugging and plugging back in
Gives new
does
life.
that. I mean, we got you know, an hour out.
can you chop it? And is that what you're doing?
I can.
It's
Did
still
you?
on. It's back live again.
We're on, we're off, we're in, we're out.
No. You're.
No, this is what we're discussing right now.
How you doing? Is this
I
me?
mean, there's a little bit of it has a little delay,
Yeah, it just
so
came back
You know what?
in time. To
Like
say
a bad
goodbye.
viri, we come back. H, get up here. Let's do a number before we, and then we'll officially get the hell out of here. Hey guys, we're gonna apologize. We had a little bit of a tough technical day. Don't hate us because we're beautiful. Give us a chance to work our way into our hearts. May 30th, we're playing at the goddamn shrine. Lots of folks are coming out. You know what it's gonna be? It's gonna be a get together of beautiful souls. So don't forget May 30th. Come out and get with us. I haven't decided about what we're gonna do for the whole show, but I have decided one thing.
You're gonna bring it out.
The whole hammer is going to be drug across the floor. I don't know what you think about that. If that scares you, then don't come. But if you want to see, and if you want to smell real people playing real music, get with us because we stink, and we just do. And we might not stink when we start, but by the time we're done.
Everybody say you stink.
We're stinking up the place. Hey, an official thanks for putting up with this week. We will improve those efforts so that we won't have these technical problems. And I would like to make a couple threats. I'm threatening now that with everybody getting their shots, their vaxes, I'm threatening now to start having the Norman Nardini show. You know, we christened having a new special guest with Danny today. And what I'm thinking about starting to bring some hunters to play with us. I'm threatening. I'm making a threat. I'm going to bring some dangerous people.
Yeah.
I might bring some people that don't like me. But they put up with me. You know why? Because I get the most out of them. They don't like the fact that it's me, because they don't like me. But they can't deny that I squeeze the juice out of them. And they don't like to admit it. They don't like even hearing about it or hearing the talk. But I know because I see it on their faces. Because I see them smiling. and I see them, I see their bodies moving, I read their body language. I'm a body language reader. I remember that song, who was that by? I'm a girl watcher. I'm a girl watcher. Who was that, Tom? Grazing in the grass? Can you dig it? I'm a girl watcher. You Masakela was
Mascala, yeah. Grazing the
I don't think that was great. He was grazing in the grass.
grass right there.
Grazing in some grass.
Sure.
You know what? When we would go to Jersey and we would party, we'd be partying all night long. One of my buddies, I was talking about earlier about people that don't smoke until they get drunk, and then they don't stop smoking. My buddy Frankie, and then after he had a couple cigarettes, he didn't smoke dope on a regular basis. He'd say, "Norman, do you have one of those music sticks?" He'd go like this, and then he'd be join the dopers, and I'd look at him. I'd go, "You son of, I'll give you a goddamn slap, Ravishir, you little prick." One of the
Hey.
funniest people, one of the funniest people we ever met. If you wanted to party, you wanted to party with Frankie.
That's it.
Because you know what he did? He brought the monkey, and then when the party started, he would let the monkey go. And that was that. I mean, and shit was flying all over the goddamn place.
That's right.
I thought I was really cool when I did that, but I really wasn't.
Oh, you're Pete Townsend for me.
Pete Townsend! I always wanted to get in a fist fight with him. You know, Abby Hoffman and him had a fight. I was rooting for Abby Hoffman. I shouldn't say that because a lot of people love Pete Townsend. I'm not one of them. He wrote some great songs. Have I been wasting my time doing the things that I love? They say you only live once, that's enough. If you do all the things you want to do, you are the one. When it's over, said and done. Well, I made up my mind to take my time and be strong. They say it only gets better, but better what? Then you realize your fantasies have just begun. When it's over, said and done. When it's over, I know I'll be standing. When it's over and it's done. When it's over, I know I'll be standing. When it's over and it's done. A little older now, but still having fun. And there ain't much change since we first begun. You know it, right? Now I wouldn't trade a single day for $1,000,001. When it's over, said and done. When it's over, said and done. When it's over. How about Tom playing the happy-ass organ part? Harry Bottom's on the bass. Rochelle working the camera. I'm the man for handful, the gagooch, the beauty on duty, the whopper, the pop, the giddy with the skinny, the thrower, the shower, the lady, Lisa. And you tell them girls that Norman, darling, he's coming on strong and he's staying on long. Oh! I blew you a kiss. Because I got kisses to blow.